Hello, parents. Another great class last night. We did a couple of things. At the beginning of class, we had a guest speaker. We went down to the seventh grade room and heard from Lori Benversi's cousin, lady by the name of Lois from the Sheboygan area. And she, a few months ago, with her church, went on a mission trip to Guinea, Africa. And she shared with us some pictures. I think the kids, it was literally eye-opening for them. They got some big eyes when they saw some of those pictures of garbage in the street and how people live in other places in the world. And how we do have a calling as Christians to love and serve our neighbors, including across the globe. Lois shared with us this really touching story about a young man, a Muslim, who converted to Christianity, even though it cost him his relationship with his family. They rejected him. But the church there, the Christian church, welcomed him with open arms and essentially gave him a new family. And then we split up back into our own classes, and we talked about baptism. And I went through a bit of a quiz with them on baptism, a quiz designed to be intentionally difficult. And there were points they're kind of struggling with some of the teachings we have about baptism, but we looked at God's Word, and the analogy of a U.S. savings bond proved to be particularly helpful, even though not all the kids knew what that was. But we talked about how a savings bond is something the government gives to guarantee a payment in the future, and how baptism is a guarantee that God gives to us of our salvation. Like a savings bond, we can choose to ignore it, can choose to rip it up, can forget about it, but as long as we want it, God has got the promise that He has given to us that through Christ we are made new creatures. We talked a little bit about death and resurrection in baptism, how our old self is put on the cross with Christ, and how God views us as a new creation. So we talked about that, and now the next step is for them to express to a family that has recently had a child baptized what they have learned about baptism. So, kind of a neat thing that we've been doing the last couple of years in terms of having an eighth grade kid write to parents who have had a baby recently baptized and kind of get the generations talking to each other about what baptism is. So that's the assignment for them this week in particular, to be writing a letter about what they have learned about baptism and pass that on and encourage and congratulate a family that has had a child in our congregation added to the Lord's family. So please work with your kids this week. Meanwhile, our conversations will be about confession. So you can take a look at the first part of the Catechism on confession and absolution this week. God bless your conversations.